Hello everyone, and welcome back to my custom position trap queens and kings combined. Um, this is the second video on this position. The first one was an introduction to the position where I outlined the many different themes of the position and went through some games. So if you haven't seen that video, I would recommend to see that one first, as it will make a lot more sense to you after seeing that, because it's a very tactically complex position. There are many themes, including sacrificing to free your queen, attacking your opponent's king, trapping your opponent's queen with the knight, bringing your pieces into the game, using pawns on the king side to checkmate your opponent, back rank checkmates, stalemates. Those are some of the themes of the position, just to name a few of the many themes. So so what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go over theory in the position. We're going to cover some of the sidelines, and in the next video we're going to cover some of the main lines. So the main lines are with knight c3, knight c6. That's what you're going to see most of the times. There's also some theory that can be played with knight e3 and e6 to block knight f5 mate. But what we're going to do is we're going to show, in this position, I'm going to show some of the sidelines that can be played. So one of the very interesting sidelines is knight c3, knight c6, and rook takes a2. So the idea here is that the most natural move would be to take b takes a2. However, this move is a blunder, as after white plays knight e4, white is targeting this this g5 pawn with the knight and wants to bring the queen to e3 as well. And you can see that the computer says it's completely winning, and actually it's a maiden 8 over here. So for example, rook hf8, queen e3. The rook has to go to f4 to block checkmate, but then the queen can just take it. Queen takes h4, and it's unstoppable g5 checkmate. So that's why in this line, there are a couple moves that white can play. So one move that I had analyzed before was knight to d4. However, I think that after rook takes 7 over here, so black mirrors white setup. I think that it should be a very close game. So for example, the computer is liking white over here. So knight e4, rook a8 or d5. Interesting. So over here, white comes in and tries to take black's queen, but after black counter attacks with knight d4, knight takes, rook takes. Over here, we're probably going to play rook a1, knight c2, rook ac1, knight takes, pawn takes. So yeah, we could reach a position like this, and it's very even. And because the kings can't move, because these kings over here they can't move, it's probably going to be like a stalemate sort of idea. And because there's like pawns, so white is threatening to move the pawn, and if black takes, like, to promote this pawn potentially in an endgame, and black is threatening to promote this pawn, the rooks will always be kind of stuck, as well as back rank ideas. So this should just be a draw in a line like this. And so generally I wouldn't play rook takes a2, because if my opponent just takes rook takes a7, the game could kind of fizzle out, although there are nuances as to where you're going to move the knight. However, knight d4 is an interesting try, and I have like an engine line over here that upon looking at it further, I think white is winning. But the idea over here is that this is just my engine line. And so if we look at this position, I didn't explain any of the moves because each move would take some time, and there are so many moves we'd have to go over. But this was kind of like an engine line I analyzed, and as you can see with the engine evaluation right now, it just shows that white is winning over here. White is up a pawn, and they should be able to win this game as well. We're probably playing a move like b4. So yeah. I think that the best way for black to win complications is just to play rook takes a7. Rook takes a7. So over here, another sideline that can be played is knight takes a2. So we want to free the queen right away. And so previous time we looked at rook takes a2. Now we're looking at knight takes a2. So I have b takes a2, rook hf1. So white's not in a hurry to take back the pawn. They'd rather try to control the f file first. e6, rook f7, knight takes a7, pawn takes, queen d3, hg8, e3. So e3 and e6 were kind of useful so the queen won't go to f2 or f7. Some engine moves. The idea here is that we want to win that pawn. And after this line that I have, black could even be slightly better even though white's up 2 pawns because of this a2 pawn is probably going to prevent the activity of white's rook over here. This is kind of a position that could occur. The knights are off the board, and I don't like trading immediately because I feel like some of the complexities of the position are gone when we trade too early, though there are lots of pawn promotion ideas still. This pawn could move. There's obviously like these pawns could be like attacked, like right now the queen's aiming at the pawn. So I'm not seeing the plays out of the position, but I try to keep the pieces on the board. Earlier. So that's kind of why that's this is a sideline. So generally, if you want to more, generally you wouldn't want to trade right away. So that's that. AF1 94. So this is another line that can be played. So in general, we try to play rook hf1 because if the knight goes to d4 and takes his queen, we prefer to take with the rook, so that the pawn promotion is harder. Because if he were to take with the pawn, then this b pawn is closer to promoting. So let me look any other lines right now. Yeah, so over here we have 2 knight d4. So after rook hf1, black can play knight d4. You can respond with knight e4 or knight d5. So computer, I have knight d5 in my lines, but the computer seems to like knight e4. I'm wondering where the knight can take over here to aim at here. Oh yeah, knight takes g5, yes. So instead of that, we have rook takes a7 or something. As you can see, the computer evaluates white to be better in this position, and it's extremely, extremely tactical as to why. Probably involves a very long variation. If we have if we go here, 94, 95, e6, knight c7, rook takes, queen takes, 3 knight c2, takes rook f8, rook c1, and white should be slightly better in these lines. So as you can see, when one knight tries to go and win the opponent's queen, oftentimes the other knight goes and does the similar thing. So if we have rook af8 over here, for example, knight c5 gets played. So the idea over here is that one side probably shouldn't go for trapping the queens because the other side can kind of just respond and do the same thing, and we can kind of reach a more even position that way. See, now the computer is evaluating it very even, but even black now thinks could be better over here. definitely very complex, very complex. Now the computer is agreeing with my initial 95. Um, let's look at this again then. Rook c1. So over here, white is up a knight. White is just up a piece. Because when black moved the knight to c2, black was hanging b5. So the rook doesn't have to take, but if the rook doesn't take on a7, like for example, if we have knight c2, knight takes a6, knight takes a3, knight c7, uh, knight c2. You can see that white is always just going to be one tempo ahead and completely winning over here. So yeah, that's generally why you don't want to play overextend and try to trap the opponent's queen. Because white can kind of do the same thing, and white will always be one tempo up. Yeah, I'm just trying to look to see if there's any other sidelines, because most of the sidelines I have kind of are within the main lines. Yeah. So the next video, so I'm probably going to stop the variations over here. The next video we're going to go into the mainline theory in this position. But actually, yeah, the first video, I have one video that I'm going to make on 93. So this is kind of like a sideline, a side variation. Um, because I think under best play, like if both sides were to have best play in this position, I do believe that this is a draw and probably harder for white to play. So I wouldn't recommend this line, but if you know your opponents have studied the theory with knight c3, knight c6, this might be kind of something to throw them off. And if they don't know the theory, white can have some chances. I've played one game. Once I learned the theory, I played one game with knight e3, and I actually ended up winning the game. It was quite a good game, so I'm going to show that in the next video as well. Um, but uh, but if you do follow theory, you should be black should be fine here. But yeah, this is it for this video. So short video on just a couple side variations. Next video we're going to go over knight e3, and after that, every video after that is going to be knight c3, which is the main move, main line. So yeah, thanks for watching.